Hey you guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. So I was trying to think of an idea for a video today and I was looking through some of my older videos and I realized I made a video not that long ago about products that I didn't think were worth the high-end price tag, like worth the splurge. But I wanted to make a companion video, I guess I just forgot to do it, about products that I do think are worth spending the little extra money on. So that's what I wanted to talk to you guys about today. I have some products here. I didn't count them, but I have a good few items from several different categories that I do think were worth the money. And I feel like this is a good time to talk about this with the Sephora sale coming up in just a couple weeks. You can get all of these products for less than full price, which is great because I honestly think they're worth paying full price for. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and get into these top tier products. So first product that I do actually think is worth getting the high-end version of, and I say high-end version because I feel like this is one of those things that is constantly trying to be duped, but I don't think anybody's ever duped it yet. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter. I don't think anybody has ever actually created a dupe of the Hollywood Flawless Filter. It's just different. It's different. I've tried the Maybelline one. I don't think it's the same. I've tried the e.l.f. one. I don't think it's the same. There's just something about this one specifically that's special. And it's my favorite. And I bought the little mini of it and loved it so much that I went full send and bought the full size. So listen, I'm a big believer in drugstore dupes. I'm a big believer in if it's close enough, it's worth it. But this one, there's just something about it that's different. I'm going to show you because I don't know. I feel like on a swatch, it's kind of hard to tell that it's different. The e.l.f. one, I think, is the closest comparison. So let me kind of compare it to that. It's a little thinner. It's less pigmented. So if you're looking for more of a coverage product, that's not what I like to use this for. The e.l.f. has a little bit more coverage in terms of being used as like a glowy complexion product. This I use as a primer or a mix into my foundation because I'm not looking for a coverage product. What I want is just the really beautiful glow. Do you see what I mean? Like it doesn't even really cover the veins on my hand. But you can see that beautiful shininess. That's what I love about it. It's got more of that finely milled, beautiful shine than any of the dupe products. I'd pay the high-end price tag for it. I would do it again. I will probably go through this whole bottle and I'd buy it again because I really, really love this stuff. I have to like stop myself from using it under every foundation every time I do my makeup because I can't go through it that fast. It's like a $50 bottle. I can't go through it that fast. But I would, if money were no object, I would. So first things first, absolutely. I could not leave out Charlotte Tilbury Flawless Filter. I do think it's that good. While we're on base products, let's go to foundations. So this was something I heard a lot of hype about before I ultimately decided to try it. And I'm really, really glad I did because it's really good. And honestly, it's not that bad of a splurge for a foundation. This is the Dior Backstage Face and Body Foundation, and this is $40 for a bottle that's actually larger than an average foundation bottle. An average foundation bottle is an ounce, and I think, I'll tell you, this is 1.5 ounces, so you're actually kind of getting a better deal. And am I using that as a cope for having bought this? Yes, but I really do think this is worth it. This for me is like an everything foundation. This is an everyday foundation. This is an event foundation. This is whatever you want. This will do the job. Whatever you want, this will do the job. But that's for a specific person. So let me tell you what kind of person is going to like this foundation. So this is a light to, I would say at most light medium coverage foundation. I don't think you can really get a whole ton of coverage from this under really any circumstances. At a certain point, it just stops building on itself. It is watery thin. I don't know if you can hear. Do you hear that? It's really, really, really thin. And I love thin foundation. I will forever stand by the real way to know if a foundation is going to be super texture enhancing or anything is it watery thin or super, super thick, like frosting thick? There are exceptions to that rule, But in general, that's worked very well for me in determining which foundations I'm going to like and which ones I'm not. This is watery thin, and it just somehow dries down with the most perfect finish. I would call it like a natural matte. It's not really glowy or dewy, which is interesting for me because I love glowy, dewy foundation. This one dries down all the way, and it will last through a hurricane. That's another thing about this. This is why I think it makes a good everyday foundation and a good event foundation, because it will last through anything. I'm going to let this dry down a little so you can get an idea of what the finish actually looks like. It's phenomenal. I swear to God, I would go through all of this and I would buy it again. There's just something about the way that it treats the texture on your face. It blurs over everything, but it also looks so natural. I don't know. Every time I wear this, I feel like my skin looks the best. Honestly, because of the dry down, I don't even think you really need to powder over it. Cream and powder products both go on top of it absolutely beautifully. If I know I want my skin to look like top notch, I'm going to use this. It is fragranced, so if you're sensitive to fragrance, do keep that in mind. It's a luxury product. They tend to do that, but I don't personally mind it. Anyway, so let me turn down the light a little bit so you can get kind of a better idea of what the finish looks like. So as you can see, you can still see the veins on my hand, so it's not a super full coverage foundation. But you can also see kind of here from the edges where you can see the pale part of my hand, it does dry down, so it's not smudging over there on the edge. And it just looks so perfected to me, like, I don't know if you can even really see a difference. So yes, would I spend the $40 on this Dior foundation again? Absolutely I would. And if you can get it on a Sephora sale and get it for cheaper, even better. I really think this will work for most people. Unless you're ultra sensitive to fragrance, I really think this will work for most people. Absolutely beautiful. Cannot say enough good things. Let's stick with the complexion products for now. Let's do a concealer. So this concealer is a little pricey. This is a $30 concealer, but it lasts a really long time. And for what it is capable of, I can and will buy it again. This is the NARS Soft Matte Complete Concealer in the little pot. This is really good. So here's my thing with this concealer. This is not, for me, an under eye concealer. For me, this would be a little too matte and silicone-y for under my eyes. For me, this is a spot concealer only. But oh my God, does it work well as a spot concealer. So the thing that's really unique about this concealer is the texture of it. I don't know how to explain this. It has a dry down, but it comes out as this almost like, I don't want to say moussey, but like almost moussey matte texture that you can blend out. It has wild coverage. I mean, full coverage, which is why it works so well as a spot concealer. But also it has this like blurring quality where, for me anyway, like say I'm putting it on top of like a pimple, right? And it kind of is coming off of my face, because that's what pimples do. They are three-dimensional. This almost makes it look flatter. I can't really explain. I don't know. It blurs over pores, so if you're putting it in a pore-heavy area, it definitely will not enhance your pores. Some things that are matte and then dry down can enhance your pores a little bit. This definitely will not do that. But it like blurs over pores, and then it blurs over spots too. I don't know. I don't know what magic they put in this, but for $30, I honestly think you're probably getting a steal, because it is crazy. There are very few products where I'm like, this actually does miracles. The next one is another product that I think does miracles, but this definitely does. So absolutely, I think that this is worth the money. So like I said before, this next product, I legitimately believe does miracles. We're going to go ahead and round out complexion. I'm going to talk about a powder, and if you've been on this channel before, you may know where I'm going with this, because I literally never shut up about this powder. So I'm going to try to keep this brief, because I could go on a long rant about why this powder is so special, but this is the Kosas Cloud Set Powder, and I love this literally more than any other powder in my collection. You can see I've really done a number flattening out that dome there. I will use this up. It's not a question of if, it's a question of when. I will use this up. I will buy it again, and if I could only have one powder left in my collection, it would be this one. It's not my favorite under the eyes. Not my favorite. Can you use it that way? Yes. But what I think makes this powder so special is what it does when you put it all over your face as a finishing powder. If I just don't love how my foundation looks, if I'm just like, I don't really know if this is doing favors for my texture, I don't really know if this is making me look a little bit alive, like I just want to look a little more something. I don't know. It's just any problem with any foundation ever. If I just take a big fluffy brush and sweep this all over my face, all of a sudden I look exactly how I want to look every single time. I don't know. I don't know what they put in this. It's not like glowy, but it's not matte. It's kind of like a natural satin type of vibe, which again, it was why I think it works with literally every single foundation under the sun. I'm getting excited. This is the best finishing powder on the market. If you are super oily and you're trying to prevent shine breakthrough, this is not gonna do that. So setting powder would be more your girl. But if you're looking for a finishing powder to just make your face look complete and smooth and just a little bit more alive, this is it. There's nothing better. I'm done now. Buy it. Full price, on sale, doesn't matter. Buy it. So let's move on to cheek products. And wouldn't you know it, I literally only picked out blushes. I have two formulas that I want to tell you about that I really just think they're worth the money. So the first one is the BareMinerals Blonzer. Now, do I think it's a Blonzer, blush bronzer hybrid? Absolutely not. Like, do you think I'm wearing this color as a bronzer? No, I'm not doing that. However, such a beautiful, beautiful blush. This is the shade Kiss of Pink. This one, especially if you're like pale girl, this is just such like a natural looking flush, especially if you're into like the sunburnt blush look where you do it like all the way across your cheeks and your nose like I do. This is perfect for that. It just gives this really natural looking pink from the sun flush. It's got some shimmer to it, but it's not intense. It's not, there's no glitter or anything like that. And it's not an intense shimmer, but it just wakes up your face and makes you kind of glow a little bit in the light. I don't know why I'm going like this. I'm not wearing it right now, but it's just such a phenomenal blush. I bought this full price myself because I thought that they were discontinuing it and I'd heard so many good things about it. And then they did discontinue it and then they brought it back in the permanent line. So good news, you can in fact get it. And there's some more shades now too. But if you're a pale girl like me, Kiss of Pink is perfect. I mean, it's just perfect. I'm going to swatch it because I literally can't help myself. So there it is in a swatch. It's so interesting because in the pan, it looks really, really pink, but it has almost like an orangey corally hint on the skin. It's so interesting, which is why I think it really gives that like sun-kissed quality. So beautiful. And I mean, the fact that I'm talking about it kind of goes without saying. The formula is beautiful. It's really soft, really smooth, ridiculously easy to blend. I don't know. I feel like getting the formula right on a powder blush is like, it's too easy these days. That's not hard. But obviously, beautiful formula. The look on the skin it's one of a kind. I really think so. I think this is a one of a kind blush. So that's why I think it's worth full price. I literally just keep messing with the lighting through this video. You're not crazy if you noticed that I keep messing with the lighting. I'm sorry. I'm still trying to figure out how to work a ring light. Anyway, the other blush that I want to talk about, and again, this may not be a surprise to you if you've been on this channel before, but oh, I lied to you. I have 3 blushes. The next blush I want to talk to you about, I just can't count, is, like I said, probably not a surprise. It's the Patrick Ta Blush Duos. Yeah, these are disgusting because I use them a lot, so I'm sorry that they look so gross. These are really special. Oh my goodness. This is She's Blushing. Really, really beautiful, neutral, nudie pink. And as you can see, you have a powder and a cream, both phenomenal formulas. And then this is the ever popular She's So LA, which is more of like a beigey brown, which tends to be the thing that I am a complete sucker for. These were released at different times, so they have slightly different formulas. So here's kind of the difference. She's So LA, the powder blush is a little satiny, but not super shimmery. And it's not wildly pigmented, but it's pretty pigmented. The cream blush on She's So LA is much, much lighter in pigmentation. It's almost like a balm kind of texture. It blends out pretty sheer. She's Blushing, on the other hand, came out with the second release. The powder blush is straight up shimmery. If you're not into that, this is probably not the one for you. I'm into that, so I'm fine with it. It's also more pigmented than the powder blush in She's So LA. The cream blush is also more pigmented. You can tell just by feeling it, it has a much thicker texture and it goes on much less balmy, much more creamy. So I can't really remember which ones came out in which release. You'd have to kind of do some digging if one of those sounds more preferable to you. For me, both of them are stunningly beautiful, so easy to use, look insane on the cheeks. You can do cream over powder, which is so unique, or you can do powder over cream. It works no matter what. And yeah, I would buy more of these and I would pay full price to do it. They are that good. Anyway, like I said before, I am in fact a liar. I have 3 blushes and this is the last one. Everybody talks about these, including me, so I'm not going to harp on them. The Rare Beauty cream blushes are in fact my favorite cream blush in my collection. They are so ridiculously, phenomenally good, and and they're not that expensive either. Like full price, I think these are $23, $24. The mini one I got in a set. So, I mean, that depends on the set you're buying. But the full size ones are like $23, $24, which for the amount of product you're getting is ridiculous because they are so wildly pigmented. So I did a brave thing. If you know anything about the Rare Beauty formula, I did a brave thing and I bought the red because I have been such a sucker for red cream blushes lately. I'm going to show you just how far one dot of Rare Beauty blush goes. Ready? Bam. One dot. One dot. I mean, this is almost the entire back of my hand, and that's still brighter than I would wear it on my cheeks. Well, let's be real. I'm a blush fanatic, so I probably would wear it that bright. But like, that would cover my whole cheek and then some. One dot. $23, $24. I'm never going to run out of this for as long as I live. So anyway, yes. And as you could see while I was doing that, the blendability is phenomenal. It never looks patchy. It's never going to get stuck to one spot on your face and be hard to make it budge. I prefer the dewy formula, but there's also a matte formula if you prefer matte cream blushes. I have the shades Encourage, Grateful, and Joy. So that's what these are, if you were wondering if any of these appeal to you. Encourage is a really beautiful neutral pink. If you are kind of going for a shade that goes with any look, I would say Encourage is the one that I would recommend. But all beautiful, cannot say enough good things. And really, full price isn't that expensive. So, you know, I mean, it's basically on sale, if you think about it. Let's talk eyes, and I'm going to move through these fast because you've heard me talk about all of them before, and you've probably heard other people talk about them before, and I'm not going to harp on them, but I'm just going to tell you they are worth your money. First things first, the only high-end mascara that I consistently and without fail tell you is, in fact, worth your money. Say it with me, the Thrive Causemetics Liquid Lash Extensions. This is a tubing mascara. If you've never used a tubing mascara before, it goes on in little tubes, and so it doesn't come off. If you rub at your eyes, it doesn't come off with literally anything except just warm water. And it comes off in little tubes. They're like little flakes. I don't know. If you've never used one before, you should look into it because they're really, really good. And Milani these days has a very, very similar tubing mascara. So if you've never tried one before, I would say try the Milani first. But this one I still think is worth it because the Milani one for me is a little harder to make work on my lashes. It's a little bit wetter formula, so it just kind of doesn't really go on the way I want it to on the first try. This one, it's like 2 swipes, you're done. You know, like no effort ever. I just prefer the formula of this one. Mine's kind of getting dried out, so I really need to get a new one, and I will. And I'll pay full price for it because they don't carry this at Sephora, and I don't mind. It's like $24, and this is really the only high-end mascara that I will consistently buy, so I don't feel bad about it. This is a phenomenal mascara. If you've never tried a tubing mascara, highly recommend it, especially if you're the kind of person who works like long hours. Let me tell you, in healthcare, tubing mascara, a must, because it never smudges and it doesn't flake, because it doesn't come off. It comes off in tubes. So, highly recommend. And if you're looking for a tubing mascara, there are other ones. The Milani one is good. The Tarte one is good. This is the best one. Talking about eyeshadows, again, you probably already know what I'm going to say because this is what everybody else says too, but unfortunately, it's true. Natasha Denona really really is that girl, okay? And the reason I pulled these specifically is because these are the ones that are like an actual splurge. These are $65 each, which I think they might, inflation's crazy. They might be like 68, 69 now. It's somewhere between 65 and 70, I don't know. Which is a lot of money for an eyeshadow palette. And if you've never tried Natasha Denona's formula before, I do think that these are a safe blind buy, but if you want to try it before you spend that much money, the minis are also phenomenal. The formula is the same, but the midi ones, I still think they're worth it. This is my favorite one right now. This is the Retro palette. Absolutely the most gorgeous pinks and mauves. So gorgeous. And she has a bunch of different formulas in here. So there's cream shadows that are like cream to powder mattes. There's glitter toppers, true metallic shimmers, and then the traditional powder matte. All of them are just out of this world phenomenal. So good. This is my newest addition, the Retro Glam palette, which I think is just so unique and so pretty. I saw this in Sephora and I literally gasped and I was like, I don't own anything like that. And that's really hard for somebody who has like 100 and some odd eyeshadow palettes. It's hard to see a palette and go, I don't have anything like that. But that's what I love about Natasha Denona. I feel like she does things that are different. But this is not one of those things. This is the bronze palette, and it is so basic, so warm tone neutral girly, and I love her for that. So she has what you're looking for. Whatever you're looking for, she's got it. If you're looking for basic, girly, glam, bronze, that kind of thing. If you're looking for something a little more out there, maybe retro glam, maybe pastel palette. I was literally, my brain just turned off. The pastel palette, a little bit more out there. You know, she makes options for everybody, and we love her for that. And the quality is without fail. So yes, I do actually think that Natasha Denona is worth the money. While we're on the subject of eyeshadow, if you thought that Natasha Denona was bad, please don't be mad. I'm sorry. Okay. People who have been here before, feel free to skip ahead. I know I don't shut up. I do not shut up about Pat McGrath. I have a whole video about my favorite Pat McGrath eyeshadows. I don't shut up about Pat McGrath. And yeah, it's like a $130 palette. I know. I have 4 of these. Probably going to buy another one at some point. Just because they're so good. All right. Like, okay, but not for everybody. Natasha Denona, I feel like, is for everyone. Everyone, I think anybody could find a Natasha Denona palette that would be worth the money to buy. Very specific subgroup of people who I think that Pat McGrath would be worth the money to buy. Number 1, you're an eyeshadow collector who just like really, really wants to have it. Frankly, I just don't think you'll be disappointed. If you're a collector, go for it. If you want 1 or 2 eyeshadow palettes in your collection that are just the highest of quality. If you're the kind of person, I only want 1, maybe 2 palettes, but you want the best palettes, Pat McGrath. Or if you are just, again, like me, a complete whore for anything sparkly. And I don't mean a little bit sparkly. I mean really, 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 really sparkly. Then Pat McGrath is your girl. I personally have never actually spent full price on a Pat McGrath palette. Would I? Yeah, I probably would if I had to. But usually you don't, because her website runs sales on them all the time. And even at the Sephora sale, you can at least get like a couple % off. But my Bronze Seduction palette, which was my first one, I bought with the plain old everyday Beauty Insider 10% discount at Sephora, and I would do it again. So even at like almost full price, I still think it was worth it. This, I just pulled one because I'm not going to make you sit through me talking about all 4 of them again. This is my most recent edition. This is the Mothership 10 Moonlit Seduction. They're all great. If you see a color story you like and you find yourself just like pining over it, which is what I kind of did with Bronze Seduction, I would just kind of pine over it. I really think if you spent the money, you wouldn't be disappointed. I really do. So yeah, that's my rant about Pat McGrath over. Again, it's good. It's really, 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 really good eyeshadow. Alrighty, I have 2 lip products. I have a lip liner and a lip gloss. So again, if you've seen some of my older content, these might not be that surprising, but I stand by it and I'm nothing if not consistent. So the lip liner, Charlotte Tilbury Lip Cheats. So here's the thing. Is it that different than like ColourPop lip liner, LA Girl lip liner? No, it's not that different. There's just something about it. Even the Sephora collection lip liners are really good, but there's just something about these They have this sort of je ne sais quoi. Like, I don't know what it is, but they're really, really smooth, and the colors are really, really beautiful, and they're so basic. It's like, you know, cool, like kind of cool nudie pink and like a brown. This is Pillow Talk, and this is Iconic Nude, by the way. They're really good. They're super smooth. The lasting power is fantastic, and something about the shades is just so spot on. Like, I feel like I could wear almost any lipstick in my whole collection with either Pillow Talk or Iconic Nude. Not like a red, obviously, but you know what I mean. Like, almost any pink or nude lipstick, which is most of my collection, would work with one of these two. And the lasting power is incredible. Did I mention that the lasting power is incredible? I mean, if you want to get just one like luxury lip product, I really feel like the Charlotte Tilbury lip liners are that girl. Not the lipsticks. Not going to go on my rant about the lipsticks, but I don't think the lipsticks are the lip product you want from Charlotte Tilbury. I think it's the lip cheats. I think you'd be much more impressed with these. And last but certainly not least, a lip gloss that I am thoroughly obsessed with and would like more of, in fact. Again, I've talked about these a bunch, probably not surprising. And honestly, full price, they're not even that expensive. I think they're like $16, but worth every penny of that $16. The Tower 28 lip glosses. So there's two like kind of different formulas. These are the jelly formula. This is the clear shade. It's called Chill. And then they have like a red and a pink and an orange that are in this like jelly formula. And then these are in the milky formula. You can see they're kind of a little bit more opaque. I mean, obviously the clear is clear, but even if you saw them in person, these are a little more opaque and they tend to be like the nudier colors. I have the shade Almond, which is this like cool tone chocolate brown. It's really pretty. And my favorite shade, possibly of any lip gloss ever, is this shade Pistachio. It's this like nudie pink. You know what? My lips feel dry, so I'm going to put this on right now, in fact. So it's so thin. It's a really, really thin formula. Not an ounce of stickiness, ever. And I hate sticky lip gloss, so that's big for me. Not even remotely sticky. Almost like a lip oil texture, honestly. Like truly almost more of an oil than a gloss. And they just make your lips look so smooth and so shiny. And I do feel like they're actually hydrating. Like my lips were feeling dry. I put it on and immediately I'm like, yeah, this is hydrating my lips. So like I said, $16 full price, I honestly think is 100% worth it. And yeah, I'm probably going to buy more of them because I can't be stopped. Really one of the best lip glosses I've ever tried, and I've tried a lot. Whew, so that is it. Those are the products that I legitimately think are worth spending your money on at Sephora and elsewhere. Usually at Sephora. Like I said, if you can get a discount on these products, which for the ones that are sold at Sephora, you can, fairly frequently in fact, then you should, you know, if they're easy to come by on a discount, then do that. But if you're really, really thinking about it and you're in the market for one and it's just not sale season, I still don't think you'd be disappointed if you spent full price. I really don't. They're so good. Anyway, I'm going to shut up now. I'm probably going to go to bed soon because it's 10:30 at night. But if you liked this video, please leave me a like down below. Leave me a comment. Let me know what products you've tried that you think were worth the splurge. And if you want to see more recommendations, more reviews, more of a little bit of everything from me, maybe hit subscribe down below. I would absolutely love to have you. And until the next one, bye you guys.